space. So, I mean, the landscape has changed a lot since like 5-6 years ago. And I see Nuffnang in a very unique position because you guys are not only a blogging platform, but you guys provide editorial services like ad networks and what have you. But I also see this as, well, kind of like on two fronts, where you have the blogging platform and you have the ad part. So on the blogging platform, you have platforms, and I'm not sure if this has been asked before, but I'll ask it anyway. So you have guys like Tumblr, like WordPress, and on the ad networks, you have people like Google AdWords or like Facebook. So how do you see Nuffnang to evolve, to leverage on this unique perspective that you guys have, where you're playing on both sides of the fence, to go forward and increase your base?
Wow, that's quite a chill question. You keep all the way to answer it. I got a lot of pressure now. I think, okay, if I get what you're asking me, you're asking me if, okay, there's like bloggers and there's all these things. I'm not very sure what your question is, you know.
So basically for the user, right?
Yes.
I mean, I'm a big fan of, I really believe in providing true value for users.
Yeah.
I'm a product person.
Yeah.
So, and we have seen some really nasty examples, like when Friendster was it was number one in its heyday, and then Facebook came along.
Yeah.
And they didn't evolve, so they withered with time.
Yeah.
So, but I see that Nuffnang is in a really unique position because you guys are playing on both sides of the fence. So how do you leverage on this?
Okay, number one is we have to continue doing what we're doing at the best level. Number one. That means just like Singapore number one, right? And it's a place that it's a kind of mentality that you need to maintain. So everything that we do on the blog services level, right, okay, on our current business has to be on a tip-top position. That is controlled by my business partner now. But I also oversee some of it. So for example, when you look at the talent management program as a development of our business, you know it's a very wholesome development. Today, even at every day, right, it's getting more and more professional. So for example, even looking at like, you know, our blogger rate cards, for example, or blogger profiles, wow, it's such a beautiful document now, right? I would actually recommend our bloggers frame it up in their room, for example. So there's so many developments that we do within the business itself, even coming out new products or coming out new things. On that end, we defend. It's always about defending that and increasing the moat. You see, a castle, I have a castle. Nuffnang is my castle. I have a moat. The products are my moat. I improve my product, I increase the moat. The moat is the longkang lah. Okay, for those people who don't understand, moat is the longkang in the middle so that people take longer time to swim over. I can fire arrow at them. Alright, so I give you an example of a moat. A moat is also like a natural one is my talent management contract, right? That's a moat. I increase, protect. But the second thing that we do is also looking at developing new technologies and new ideas, and that's where I'm really interested in and where I'm really focused on. And you're going to be seeing a lot of interesting products coming out of our company. We are looking at building mobile apps, right, at a rate of 2 to 3 apps in a year. So you see at least like six to 9 apps in a space of 3 years. And all these apps will be built around the social media and blog space. So that means we cement our position in that space. Why? Again, I really believe that everybody else in Asia or in the world for that matter are ignoring blogs to their peril. Not to their peril, but to my benefit, sorry. When people look at Facebook, when people look at all these things, right, they say, hey, Facebook's great, all these kind of things, right, they're like, everybody take their eye away from my part of the pond. You see? Which is blogs. So, does anybody still question themselves, for example? Okay, just give you a little, you guys are going to get a free preview of what I'm coming up with next. But has any of you, right, ever thought, right, why is it so difficult to blog on mobile? Long form. Right? WordPress, Blogger, they have Android and iPhone apps. Go and use. Exactly the same as using on a desktop, except that it's on mobile. How is that friendly? Right? That's a problem that I'm looking at now. The blog space is my domain, and I will continually come up with new products. You see? So this is greenfield. It's like building another castle altogether. And that's the part I'm really interested in and really excited in. And of course, part of that is understanding that when you get these apps out, right, how do you viral it, how do you get it out, and how do you actually make it successful, such that everybody here will know my name, or everybody outside will know my name. Everybody knows Mark Zuckerberg. A lot of people know Kevin Sustrom now, right, Instagram founder. How do we do that? That's the question now. So I'm still very much developing apps in the new space, but related to what I'm doing, blogs. So the first app that you see is a blog app called Emotive, I-M-O-T-I-V. You can download it on iPhone or Android, and it's our first experiment. But it's an app that allows you to find and follow blogs. We got about 60,000 users on it now, not a lot. 60,000, not bad, but it's not a lot. So it's an experiment. It's okay. I planted about $1 million into that. But the next apps I'm going to produce, right, will be produced at $150,000, $200,000. And I will produce it cheaper, faster. Come out with better apps, come out with solutions, market it better, keep on doing it. Until I hit the big time.
Who are your contemporaries in the other parts of the world? Say, is there people like you in the US, in the UK, in Europe?
No.
So what stops you from being there and doing the same thing?
Nothing stops me, but I'm only one man. And as it is, it's very hard to pin me down. I fly to so many countries and I do so many things, and I'm hardly in Singapore. My mom complains that the house is like a hotel. You get that. You get that complaint quite regularly if you are Asian. So, I'm only one man. I recognize that the way to expand my business is to rely on good business partners overseas. So I haven't found good business partners, for example, in Indonesia, in a market that I really want to go into. I haven't found good business partners in the US. But it doesn't matter. Because to me, then people say, aren't you scared that somebody will come along and take your idea? And there are people who've done that. In Indonesia, there's already a blog network called ID Blog Network, for example, right? Okay? But to me, that in itself represents opportunity. If the guy can do it, okay, and can do it to a certain scale, I'll buy him over and I'll improve it. Number one, maybe. Number two, right, is that I always believe I can do something better, no matter what it is. Okay, for example, Singapore Airlines. I love Singapore Airlines. I take Singapore Airlines everywhere. Okay, even if I'm in Japan and I need to go to, let's say, UK, I'll fly from Japan back to Singapore. Then I take to Holland. I will not fly Japan to UK. Okay, that's how much I love Singapore Airlines, and it is a real icon. But you see, everybody else falls short because it is the best. But even then, I believe I can do better. You see? And that's the true joy of being a businessman. Always thinking you can do better, always breaking those boundaries and always trying to improve. The story is never ending. I'm an ACS boy and the best is yet to be. Always. Yes, hi.
Hi, my name is Paulina. I'm a charisma trainer. I work for myself.
Yeah.
And my question is, because you mentioned that you are introducing these new apps and like a lot of new ideas, are you going to profit from those new ideas, or they are just addition to what you are having already? Because what's the business model now? Because you mentioned you have some platforms, and then you have apps and additional projects in mind. Are they just to support the ideas that are already existing?
Okay. Well, basically every idea that we do should always have some sort of impact. Impact could be profit, but impact could be other things as well. Other things including social good, for example. If I have something that creates good social good, I'll be very happy too. We are lucky and fortunate to have made a company, and we are one of very few Southeast Asian companies, internet companies, that actually do turn a profit, and a good profit at that. So, like I said, all the things that we're doing, even though we're the best blogging advertising agency, we continue to improve, continue to get better. Hopefully nothing will go wrong. Hopefully advertisers will still support us. Please, we need your support. And, we will continue to grow in that space. So, like I said, we already have a profitable arm. I can only eat so much. So, the rest of it, I just want to build out of pure passion, pure love. Let's get this shit out. Let's make it big. And if it gets big, and if somebody wants to buy me out for $1 billion, okay. Unless it's really a Facebook lah, then I might say no lah, right? Okay. But otherwise, in your life, what are you here to do? We're here to create, at least have an impact before we go lah. We're all dust, right? So from the day we were born, we're all dust. Richer or poorer, as long as we have a certain amount, right, it's there, and I have enough. What I'm really interested to do is impact. So the products to me is really impact. I think we'll turn a profit or we'll make money, right, if we continue with this ideal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will just have time for the 3 questions, so perhaps anyone?
Yeah, Bhavik again. There is somebody was talking before the talk started about bought media and earned media. A lot of the advertorials is obviously still bought.
Bought media, yeah.
But the blogosphere is also a very rich ground for earned.
Yes.
So are you sort of, what is your thinking on how to develop that area for brands?
I don't look to develop that earned media part because it doesn't make me money. It's going to be very difficult. It's not my job. Do you see I'm going? But I do encourage the bloggers, once again, to blog about what they're passionate about. At all times. So if you're passionate about, a brand, or you're passionate about something, right, please blog about it. If I'm passionate about BlackBerry, for example, I will blog about BlackBerry, to the death. Even though people might ridicule me and say, hey, you stuck in dinosaur, I will still blog about it. That's the same attitude that all my bloggers and that all our blogs should take. So the earn space, okay, when you say earn, right, that's where I say that the advertisers or whoever you are who are trying to engage these bloggers, recognize the word earn, you go out there and earn it. And how do you earn it? Well, number one, it has to be, as you all know, it has to be on the back of a good product. So if you don't have a good product, if you come out with a, let's say, an Eno phone or whatever, and it's like totally useless, but then you have been the client, you have been the agency attached to it, and you think, hey, this is the best phone possible. You can only sell it so much, right? That's the base. And then if it's good, and you can convince the person, and you have earned their trust, that this is a good product indeed, and I believe it, and I'm an advocate, good. This earned media thing came from where? Apple. Okay, before Apple existed, everybody is now talking about earned media. So everybody is now talking about paid media becoming smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller because what? Earned media becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Nonsense. Nonsense. Because you cannot perfectly identify your advocates. It's impossible, and advocacy changes. And it moves and it's dynamic. For example, I may be an advocate for BlackBerry today, but tomorrow, a lot of people were iPhone fans before, they're advocates. But tomorrow, the day after, does it mean that when you earn the media, you